In this video, I'm going to be telling you what I think of the Hasbro Retro Collection. Hey there, Star Wars collectors, and welcome to another Boss Bounty video. My name's Tim, and today we're going to be taking a look at the Hasbro Retro Collection. So, obviously this wave was announced way back in New York Comic Con, maybe, something like that. Can't exactly remember when. And when they were announced, I kind of freaked out about the whole thing because I thought, great, they're going to be reproducing original Kenner figures, exactly the same how they were released back in the day. And I was more worried about the blasters and the sabers and things like that getting mixed in with the original line. Because obviously if you're a collector of the original line and you're trying to get all of those figures and blasters, you know, the last thing you want is Hasbro making a exact replica of the Luke Skywalker lightsaber, and then, you know, you've just paid 90 quid for it or whatever it was on eBay or some collectors group or something, and then Hasbro just come out and make a brand new one. So, you know, obviously we've kind of created this collecting world by ourselves. Obviously things become rare over time, and as you know, I'm sure everyone will agree, the last thing you want is a company just coming out and saying, well, here's everything you've been collecting for the last 30 years and we're just going to reproduce it. However, those fears have kind of gone away now because it has become apparent that the figures are different. I believe they've got a stamp on the back of the leg as well with the date, and you can tell the difference between the blasters and things like that. So those fears have now gone away. So in my opinion, if that's the case, Hasbro can now, you know, give us the whole lot of them, whatever, that's fine by me. However, I do still have my issues with them, and I know by watching my good friend Only One Kenobi, when he was looking at these figures, he's actually warmed to the whole design and aesthetic of them, which I myself have to say haven't, unfortunately. So if we're looking at the Stormtrooper to begin with, you know, I really don't like this at all. And anyone that says that the cards are as good quality as, you know, the original figures or even the vintage collection, I'm afraid not. These are very thin, they are very bendy, and they're just not of the same quality in my opinion. I'm struggling with the whole worn effect on the side. I can understand why they've done it, but to me, I would much have preferred them to just give us it how it came. You know, you can tell the difference with the back of the card, with all the dates and everything. You don't need to have all of this stuff to say, ooh, look, you know, we're making it look like it's been in somebody's loft or garage for 30 years and we've suddenly unearthed it and here it is. That's the look that they're trying to go for, and I just don't like it personally. But it is nice to get these figures like this and, you know, have that sort of nostalgic value. I do collect carded vintage figures, so admittedly it's a small collection, but I am trying to collect more of them. But for 10 quid or $10, whatever they are, you can't really go wrong in terms of a nostalgic thing. You know, what I would say is the sticker is, you know, we said it before, it's too big. Why can't they just give us the card how it should be in its original state with a smaller sticker? You know, even the vintage collection figures come with smaller stickers than that. That is just huge. It covers up most of the image. If we take, who should we look at as a good example? They all look really bad. Now I know some people have been able to take that sticker off. From what I gather, it's a bit of a pain trying to get it off. You've got to use a hairdryer and all kind of stuff and a lot of patience. I'm not really prepared to do that because I want to keep these in the state that they come in. So, you know, in another 30 years time, you can say this was the retro collection and they had these awful stickers on. Hopefully going forward, they'll scale it down a bit, just make it a little bit smaller so we can see much more of the image. So that's my thoughts on the cards. What I did find strange was when they were first announced, the guy at Hasbro, he was being questioned about them and he didn't even know his own product. You know, they said, is that printed on or is it a removable sticker? And he said, no, it's printed on. And then when they come along and we get them, everyone's like, nope, it's a sticker. So that was really, really weird. Whether they changed that halfway through because it got a lot of backlash, I do not know. But saying that, I'm glad it's a sticker. So if you do want to take it off, you can. But me personally, I'm going to keep them as they are. Now, you may have just watched a video that I did about Smith Lord Creations and the fact that he's making these new Kenner style figures, which are absolutely awesome. Now, this to me is what the retro collection should be about, in my opinion. So this figure here, the Tarkin, in my opinion, is the best of the line. It's a figure that we never got back in the day. It's a figure that everyone wanted back in the day. It was a figure that everyone wondered why we never got. And now we have him in that Kenner style. So he's 5 POA. He looks absolutely great. He looks like just like he would have been released had he been released with all the other figures back in the late 70s and early 80s. And I want Hasbro to do more of this, because obviously Smith Lord Creations, they're getting on with it. They're making the Wedge Antilles. They're making the Bigs. You know, they're making the Aunt Beru. This is what Hasbro should be doing with this line. Of course, it would be nice to get the rest of the figures as well, but I think this line personally should market itself on giving us the collectors, because this is a collector's thing. It's got to be this is for the collector, giving us the figures that we never got back in the day. So let me know what your thoughts are on that in the comments below. I know some of you have commented before when we've talked about these that you think it should be just giving us the original figures, and I'm absolutely fine with that, but I just think they should give us more of this as well, as much of this as they possibly can do. Obviously it means creating new molds and figures, but you know, come on, they got to work for their money. Give us what we want, and this is what I want. There is another figure that is kind of in the line, or perhaps it's not in the line, and that's the weird Darth Vader, which I will show you now. Just going to get him out of his... I've got him in a protective case. So again, when I first saw this, I thought this was like the most bizarre thing going. I'm counting it as part of the retro collection. Obviously a massive sticker with special edition on there, but I do love the foil effect and the way it sort of glistens in the light there. And although, you know, it's a bit of a weird figure to have, and I don't even think they make prototypes like this. I think they said they do, but I think usually they're all just one sort of grey colour, aren't they? I don't know, you can correct me if I'm wrong on that, but they said it's a Darth Vader prototype, and they've given him all different coloured limbs there, and there's loads of different versions of these. I think there's like maybe 32 different versions with different coloured heads and what have you. I don't think you can have a limb the same colour on the same side, so you'll never get an orange arm with a orange leg and things like that. And there's the back of it there, so you've got a nice picture of Obi-Wan and Vader in the scene from New Hope, and again, that's all foily as well. So, you know, this sort of thing, I love this sort of thing. It's just a quirky release, which I will always buy, and I'm sure other collectors will. But as I mentioned before, I think this line should be about these personally. And of course, yeah, of course, if you're going to do the whole line, then yeah, I want them all. You know, I'd love a Bosk on this card. I would. I'm not going to lie. But do away with that, please. Please, just do away with it. As for the second wave of these figures, I've heard conflicting stories. So I've heard some people say that the next wave is going to be the next 6 figures from the original 12, like Obi-Wan, R2, C-3PO, etc. Now that seems logical, obviously, because you want to complete the line, especially of those first 12. But I've also heard that the second wave will actually be Empire Strikes Back themed for the 40th anniversary next year. And then we're actually going to be getting, you know, perhaps even Bosk, IG-88, characters like that, you know, the sort of famous bounty hunters and what have you from The Empire Strikes Back. Maybe even Hoth Leia, Hoth Han, etc. So who knows? We'll have to wait and see. We'll have to see an announcement on those. Perhaps we'll get an announcement at New York Comic Con. I just do not know. I can't wait to find out though. One other bugbear that I do have with these figures, now this really, really does annoy me. So if you've watched any of my videos and I talk about the vintage collection, you have the US release, which has the warning in the top right hand corner up here about small parts. And in the UK ones, we have the bit of paper a bit like that, but it's usually it's usually folded up a little bit better in the bottom there. But what they've done with these is they've put the bit of paper like directly behind the figure, and it looks awful. You know, why would you do that? Fold it up better and put it in the bottom there, just under his feet. I just don't understand that. It just ruins, you know, half the thing about these card backs is the fact of the, you know, the colour that they use behind the figure and the name pill, and you're covering half of it up with that bit of paper. And I know you need that bit of paper for choking hazards and all that kind of stuff. But why do it like that? It's just so annoying. So when I was at Echo Live in Redditch last year, I think it was October, In Demand Toys had these, but they'd obviously imported them, and man, do I wish I'd bought those ones, because they didn't have the silly bit of paper in. I've got the UK versions which do, so I'm thinking about moving these on somehow and trying to acquire myself the imported figures, or maybe when I go to the States at the end of the year, hopefully they'll still be on the pegs or whatever, and I can get them while they're out there. Let me know your thoughts on that. You know, with the bit of paper, does it ruin the figure? Are you not bothered? Me personally, I think it just takes something away from them a little bit. Talking of Echo Base Live in Redditch, it's on again in October the 5th, Saturday, October the 5th. So it's the day after Triple Force Friday. I'm going to be there. So if any of you guys are in the UK that are watching this video and you're going to be at Echo Live, you know, come up and say hello. I know you don't know what I look like, but I'll probably have a t-shirt on with Boss Bounty on it or something. So few of the guys that I know are going to be there, and we're going to be meeting up, and hopefully we're going to be buying some awesome vintage Star Wars. So let me know in the comment section below what you think of this video, what you think of the retro line in general, where you think it's going to be going in the future. And if you like this video, please drop a like down below. It really, really does help the video and the channel. And I thank you all very much for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.